Ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas have failed as Israel still plans to invade Rafah. How American officials are reacting. And the cleanup continues after storm damage in Tennessee. Governor Bill Lee got to see some of the worst of it.
And sunshine returns in full force for Mother's Day. Your forecast coming up as Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
There is new fear that an Israeli attack on the city of Rafah is imminent. 1.3 million Palestinians had sought safety in the southern Gaza town, but many are now scrambling to leave following the latest failed ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas. CBS's Willie James Inman reports.
New desperation in Rafah as the streets empty out, cars and trucks piled high with belongings. The UN estimates more than 100,000 Palestinians have fled the Gaza border town in recent days. This woman says Israel dropped leaflets urging people to evacuate, but says where the leaflets say to go is unsafe. Israel has seized control of the Rafah border crossing, blocking aid into Gaza. The United Nations says it has only 3 days worth of stockpiled food, and the Secretary General lashed out at Israel.
You have more civilians killed in Gaza than the civilians killed after the Russian invasion of the Ukraine in more than 2 years.
President Biden has said his administration will not provide weapons for a major military operation in Gaza, but Israeli officials say they have the weapons they need to go after Hamas in the densely populated area. Former National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster.
I think it's feckless on the part of the Biden administration. I think it's really important to note that Hamas has said they want every day to be like October 7th.
But support for Israel's actions in Gaza may be waning. Friday, the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly backed a resolution that would effectively recognize a Palestinian state. The U.S. and Israel abstained from the vote, and later, standing before the General Assembly, Israel's ambassador shredded the UN charter. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
Israeli forces are said to have circled the eastern part of Rafah with airstrikes on the city continuing. The UN says more than 100,000 Palestinian refugees have managed to make it out of Rafah. Some university graduations that had been scheduled for today or the next few days are not happening. Several schools that have seen pro-Palestinian demonstrations are canceling or modifying their ceremonies. Cal Poly Humboldt says its campus remains closed through Sunday, changing locations for graduations. Emory University in Atlanta says it will hold its ceremony off campus Monday. And Columbia University says its main ceremony that had been scheduled for Wednesday is canceled. The American Red Cross has shelters set up in several Tennessee counties impacted by storm damage. Crews have been out in an area using chainsaws and large equipment to clear roads blocked by fallen trees in Maury County. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee was able to see some of the damage there. He says he spent hours yesterday talking to people whose lives have been changed forever, including one family that he says lost everything except for each other.
One family that huddled in the closet and lost most of their house. As you walk through, you saw that they picked the only closet that was untouched. And so they say get to the inside, no windows, lowest level. That's what this family did, and they survived. And I would guess they would not have survived had they not done that.
First responders say they will be working to evaluate the damage to help families who lost everything qualify for aid.
Well, the weather is cool and gloomy on this Friday across the mountains. Also watching out for a few spotty sprinkles as well. Let's go to First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. Nothing too widespread. Also the good news, no severe storms today, but we are tracking some light sprinkles close to the Kentucky and Virginia border for parts of Bell County, pushing into Harlan County, also for Letcher, Lee, and Wise counties as well, and a few more light sprinkles close to Pike County, moving into Buchanan and Dickinson County at this hour. We are gloomy on this Friday. A live look across the region, and plenty of clouds from Buffalo Mountain, also from the London Corbin airports and from I-64 over in Rowan County at this hour. Most of us in the upper 50s to lower 60s, up to 61 for Jackson, 60 in Manchester, up to 59 for Harlan, and 57 over in Pike County at this hour. We should be in the 70s, so we are well below average on this May afternoon, and some more cool weather is on tap for this evening. If you have those plans, a small chance of a stray shower, maybe a few sprinkles, but for most we stay dry, also under a clearing sky, and those lows are much cooler to wake up in the morning. We see middle to upper 40s, a few more showers at times tomorrow, and more sunshine on the way for Sunday. Those details coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
Cameron, thanks. The family of a U.S. airman is pushing for answers after new body cam video shows he was shot to death by a Florida sheriff's deputy at his own doorstep. Roger Fortson can be seen in his home holding a gun pointed down when he opened the door. Initial reports from the sheriff's office say he acted in self-defense, but Fortson's family says the deputy went to the wrong apartment. A warning now, some of this video may be difficult to watch. CBS's Jared Hill takes a closer look.
Sheriff's office, open the door!
In newly released body cam video, an unnamed deputy with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department knocks on the door of 23-year-old senior airman Roger Fortson's apartment. Fortson answers with a handgun pointed downward. Seconds later, the deputy shoots.
He shot up. My baby was shot up.
Fortson's family is now demanding answers. Authorities say they were responding to a 911 call about a domestic disturbance.
He was saying that it happens frequently,
Okay.
but this time it sounded like it was getting out of hand.
Fortson's mother, Mika, says he was home alone on FaceTime with his girlfriend during the shooting. A portion of that FaceTime, which appears to be from after the shooting, was released by the family's attorney. Law enforcement can be heard talking about Fortson's injuries. CBS News has added the subtitles.
Yeah, he shot up. You got that 6 gunshots.
Tell the truth about my baby. My baby was not going to hurt you. My baby was not in the wrong.
I want to assure you that we are not hiding, covering up, or taking action that would result in a rush to judgment of Mr. Fortson or our deputy.
The family's attorney, Ben Crum, says the deputy went to the wrong apartment. State investigators are looking into the shooting. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The deputy who pulled the trigger has been placed on administrative leave. In a statement, the family of Fortson said regarding the body cam video, quote, "In the 4.5-minute heavily redacted video, it is very troubling that the deputy gave no verbal commands and shot multiple times within a split second of the door being opened, killing Roger," end quote. A portion of the Francis Scott Key Bridge is set to be removed from the cargo ship Dolly on Saturday. The Key Bridge Response Unified Command says it will use precision cuts made with small explosive charges to release the ship. The giant cargo ship has been stuck in place since it crashed into the bridge on March 26th. Meanwhile, the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure is planning to hold a hearing on the investigation Wednesday. Apple is potentially facing a wave of unionized workers across the country. So far, workers at Apple Store locations in Maryland and Oklahoma have voted to unionize. The Maryland workers are now weighing a strike, saying management has yet to meet their core demands. It's one of the strongest labor actions taken against the big tech company yet. Employees in New Jersey are also holding a union election this weekend. About 1 in 8 adults say they have taken a GLP-1 drug like Ozempic or Mounjaro. That's according to a new poll from KFF. About 6% of respondents say they are currently taking the popular drugs. Most adults say they took them to treat a chronic condition, including diabetes or heart disease, while about 40% say they took them just to lose weight. Neither Ozempic nor Mounjaro are approved for weight loss specifically. Coming up on First at 4, Americans are dealing with a 22% increase in car insurance rates. How you can possibly bring those costs down.
Plus, we could see a few sprinkles for this evening. Your First Alert forecast after this break.